Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are around the world. Welcome to the news desk here at Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad. It is great to be with you. Rich Hagan sitting alongside the Pro Tour historian Brian David Marshall, and from inside R&D at Wizards of the Coast, Mr. Reid Duke. Great to have them with us. So it is great to have you here, and we are getting ready for 3 amazing days of competition. So Brian, I'd like to start with you. You've been through this for many years, but it never gets old. What are you looking forward to this time around here at Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad?
I got to tell you, there is a level of excitement in Rich about Standard that I have not seen going into a Pro Tour in a long time. Huge rotation, a lot of big changes. We thought that the format might be a little explored coming in because of some of the Standard events that have taken place over the last couple of weeks, but we keep hearing promises of, oh, you're going to really like this deck, or, oh, this is really exciting, or, hey, do you have this really weird card? I need 4 of them. So
Right.
There's a lot of excitement about saying, some people are definitely going to be on, some decks that we know, but it sounds like some of the big teams have some big surprises for us in Standard coming out.
Right, now Ian, we always transform Standard every time we come to a Pro Tour, but this time around, this is the first time we're really able to showcase the new 2-block rotation, where so many great cards are out the door from old Standard, and so many cards now have that space to live and breathe in new Standard.
Yeah, the new 2-set block rotation is something R&D has been really excited about, and we're finally starting to hit our stride there, where we're getting into, now we have Battle Block and Shadows Block beginning. Those old Khans of Tarkir cards have rotated out, so as BDM said, this is a huge rotation, and we're really excited about what we can see.
All right, so for those of you who are coming new to the Pro Tour, you're very, very welcome. Thanks for being part of our Pro Tour weekend. We should tell you how it all works, because it's pretty straightforward, but if you've not seen it before, you're not going to know. But you will in just a couple of minutes. So Brian, walk us through the schedule and the format for both Friday and Saturday.
Sure. So starting today, right now, you hear, maybe even get a little ambient sound from the judge announcements as players are being seated into 8-player pods, broken up, sitting around draft tables, and they are going to draft 3 packs of Shadows over Innistrad, build their decks, and play 3 rounds within that pod. And it's going to be paired by record. At the end of those 3 rounds, we're going to go to Standard. And we're going to play Standard for 5 rounds. At the end of that, everyone who's 4-4 or better is going to advance to day 2. And then on day 2, we're going to draft again. We're going to do 5 more rounds of Standard. And then, we'll have a top 8.
Okay, now the top 8 is broadly similar to what we've had before, in that players play the best 3 out of 5 matches. We run quarterfinals 1 and 2 together, then 3 and 4 together before every turn of the semi-finals and the final. But you'll see all the quarterfinals decided. The one wrinkle this time, BDM, is with the sideboards.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of talk about how with a 5-game set, how much sideboards factor in, and maybe you don't get the full impact of your deck choice that you brought to the table, and it's maybe a little different than it is during the Swiss. So for this tournament, we're going to see players have to play with their main deck configuration for 2 games of the finals. Game 1 and Game 2 are not sideboarded. Games 3, 4, and 5, if necessary, can be sideboarded.
Now, if you're a Magic player, the chances are you can count to 3. We've done a test. Ian can count to 3, and that's why he's going to tell you all about the scoring system.
That's right. So each of our rounds is best 2 out of 3 matches, and whoever wins best 2 out of 3 earns 3 match points. The loser earns 0, and if that match should go to time and end up in a draw, then each player earns 1 match point.
Okay, and that happens pretty rarely, and you can't play the same players you see there twice in the Swiss. What we mean by Swiss constructed rounds is playing people on the same record. You are paired, all the 2 and 0s play other 2 and 0s. Now, what that means in practical terms, just to give you a few rough ballpark numbers, through 8 rounds, say the 400 players, that's a rough guide to the number. We don't have an exact number yet for you. That means that there will be 50 draft winners by lunchtime today. They'll be at 3 and 0. There'll be 50 players, roughly, who have yet to win a match at 0 and 3. And the other 300 will be split roughly evenly at 1 and 2 and 2 and 1. Once we get to constructed, all the 3 and 0s play, so half of those will have their first loss. The 4 and 0s will play, half of those will have their first loss. And eventually, by the end of day 1 BDM, we should have somewhere around 2 players with a perfect record. And that, whether or not they go on to make the top 8 or win a Pro Tour, just getting to the end of day 1 undefeated is a massive, massive achievement.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, puts you in great shape, puts you at a pretty tough draft table at the start of day 2. No, this is, you know, being undefeated at the Pro Tour is amazing. And you know what? There's a number of races at stake this weekend. You know, we talked about it a little bit in the preview, Constructed Master and Limited Master. So getting off to that 9-0 start would be helpful for either of those races. The player with the best constructed record and the player with the best limited record at the Pro Tour over the course of the year end up with a seat at the World Championship.
All right, so why don't we talk about something more immediate? Immediate gratification comes in the form of very large checks. So, Vidiam, what are the prizes on offer this weekend?
You know what? You're talking about a $40,000 first prize. I mean, that's and it's more than that because it's, you know, platinum status. It's an invite to Worlds, and you know, and that's just, I mean, that's what these players are playing for. They're playing to be a Pro Tour champion and, you know, get paid in the process. $20,000 for second, you know, going down the line to a $250,000 purse. The pro points, obviously, huge as well.
Now, Ian, it says at the bottom there, players who finish with 33 match points or greater also earn invitations to the next Pro Tour Eldritch Moon. It's about this moment, 9:07 in the morning of the first Pro Tour morning, that a lot of people at home think, why am I here at home watching this when I could be there trying to earn $40,000? So how can people qualify to be with us next time around?
Yeah, great question, Rich. So as you mentioned, one of the best ways to qualify is to do well at a Pro Tour, and that qualifies you for the next Pro Tour. But there are also a couple ways to get onto the Pro Tour in the first place, so let's talk about those. So the first is to win your regional Pro Tour qualifier. You can play in a preliminary PTQ in your store. If you win that, you advance to the regional Pro Tour qualifier. Do well enough in that, you can qualify for the Pro Tour. Second way is to do well at the Grand Prix, earning 39 match points or greater. Another way to get on. As we talked about, you can do well in the previous Pro Tour, 33 match points or better. You can also win
11 and 5.
Yeah, a Magic Online Championship Series. Winning the finals of that can qualify you for the Pro Tour. Top 8 your World Magic Cup is another way. And also, if you're a member of the Pro Players Club, which you can do by doing well at Grand Prix and Pro Tour, earning pro points, advancing the Pro Players Club, or eventually qualifying for the Pro Tour Hall of Fame.
That's the long-term goal.
That's the very long-term.
If you're just starting
definitely not the easiest way to qualify.
If Friday Night Magic is where you're starting out, don't worry about the Hall of Fame. That'll take care of itself in about 10 years' time. All right. I'm going to talk to you about 3 letters, DFCs. That stands for double-faced cards. The players are about to draft, and they're going to draft basically like you would on Magic Online, not like you would in your local store. So fundamentally, what's going to happen this morning, all the cards in the draft are sleeved up. And that means that no one can see what double-faced card you've opened in your pack, because every pack has a double-faced card in, at least one. So you don't have to show what your double-faced card is around the table. That doesn't happen this morning at the Pro Tour. Equally, players can't look to see what's on the other side. We think the players here know what's on the other side of their double-faced cards by now. So there is no reveal. There is no seeing what your neighbors have put in front of them in their, oh, I've opened Nahiri. I show you Nahiri. I put it down. That's not happening. It's all private, just like every Magic Online draft. You look at your pack of 15, you choose your card, you move on. In your local store, you'll still be showing around the table. All right, so that's what's happening here. And basically, it came out of last weekend. We had 3 Grand Prix in this format. Got a ton of feedback from players that, honestly, it was just kind of awkward to peer around the corner. You couldn't, sometimes you could see some cards that were on the table. Sometimes you couldn't. Some people put them near them, so fewer people could see. It became really quite messy. This is a one-time, elegant little solution featuring 20,000 sleeves. You do the math how long that takes to do. And that's what's coming up in just a moment. Guys, I can tell you, we have our feature pods. Our pods are ready, and we're going to feature a table of Martin Müller of Denmark.
World Magic Cup champion.
Gold level pro Ryoichi Tamada of Japan. Someone you know very well, Ian Duke. Reid Duke. Who is runner-up from Worlds, of course, in the past. 2-time world champion, Shahar Shenhar.
Wow.
So those two could be on collision course. An RPTQ success for Donald Smith in his third Pro Tour. Jason Myatt, who went 10-6 at Pro Tour Gate Crash. The Austrian Valentin Mackel with a stack of Grand Prix top 8s. And Felix Rodriguez, who is a 21-year-old from Spain, playing in his first Pro Tour via Regional Pro Tour Qualifier. And that's exactly what you go to your local PPTQ for, so that you can get into an RPTQ, get in the top 8 of that, and then sit down with Müller, Tamada, Duke, Shenhar, Mackel. Fantastic stuff. All right, so players are near enough ready. But Ian, I want to ask you, put the R&D hat on for a minute. You are in an almost unique position because we can all dream of playing at the Pro Tour. Very few of us will ever get to be in R&D. So what is this moment like for R&D? Briefly.
It's just the most exciting thing in the world. I mean, we pour a ton of man hours and effort into making these sets, and seeing them debut for the first time and played at the highest level, it's just an awesome surprise. All
right, well, great news. The players are ready. We're ready. It's time for the draft here at Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad.
And hello and welcome to the booth here in Madrid. Marshall Sutcliffe with Randy Bueller. And we're both, I mean, I didn't sleep that much last night, Randy. I'm not going to lie, because I can't wait to see what the pros do when they get their hands on these Shadows over Innistrad cards. And we've got a real nice day one feature pod here. Let's take a look at our table. We'll set the table, as it were. Now, if you look on the far right side of your screen, we're going to start by watching, that's right, Reid Duke. So Reid is going to be our feature drafter here. Of course, everybody knows Reid Duke that watches coverage. He's got 17 GP top 8s. He's got a Pro Tour top 8 as well, looking to add another to that here. And nice little table, especially
look at that
skewed over on the right-hand side of our table there.
Müller feeding Tamada, feeding Duke, feeding his teammate on Pantheon, Shahar Shenhar.
Right. You see Valentin Mackel, another notable name, somebody that we see out at the GP scene a lot, both in North America and in Europe as well. Donald Smith, Jason Wyatt, and Felix Rodriguez rounding out our featured pod. So, are you ready, Randy?
Let's do it.
All right, let's head down to the feature match area. It's time for the first draft here from Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad. Welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad. We're in Madrid, Spain. It's early in the morning on a Friday, and it's time to draft. This is our first draft of the long Pro Tour weekend. We're going to start things off with Reid Duke. That's right. Take a look at Reid here. Plays for Team Channel Fireball, the Pantheon. You can take a look at his stats on the right-hand side of your screen. And I actually had a chance to chat with Reid briefly about Limited. We're going to get his thoughts on that later on tomorrow as we go through the weekend. Yeah, and I tell you what, this Limited format is all over the place, and Reid is into his first pack. Let's see what he's looking at. You will notice that the cards are sleeved. There's a Drogskull Cavalry. Yeah. His double face card is a Gatstaff Arsonist, not a premium one. I think Sinister Concoction looks like the best card in the pack.
He shuffled the throttle to the front pretty aggressively too.
Did he? Okay. The Drogskull Cavalry is a very solid finisher. It costs a lot of mana, 7 mana, but it can really dig you back from being behind if you can manage to scrape your way late into the game. And I could see Reid taking it. The Sinister Concoction, just a very solid removal spell as well, even sometimes a Madness enabler. You can take a look at Sinister Concoction. It's kind of, I think the flavor here, Randy, is you're putting a bunch of stuff into the old, what are they called? A cauldron? Is that what they call it?
Yeah. He goes Cavalry.
He took the Drogskull Cavalry. All right.
I like that pick, too, because it was basically the only white card in the pack. There's multiple black cards in there. Like, if he takes Concoction, he's still passing a Throttle. Somebody's going to take that relatively soon. And he's passed nothing in white.
Okay, here's Reid's second pack.
Wow,
he got past an Era Falconwrath. That is definitely going to catch Reid's eye. That's one of the better uncommons in the set. The Cathar's Companion, the white card that he's pulled to the front, it just pales in comparison to a card of that level.
He kind of wishes maybe he'd taken a black card.
You know, I think that if he had the choice, he probably would go back and take the Sinister Concoction. But that said, whatever. You know, Era Falconwrath is sweet. That's
just the pick here, right?
It's easy pick, yeah. I really don't think that it's even a choice That card's very first pickable, very solid, and the fact that it's been passed to him is definitely relevant. The rare was missing from the pack, so
Sure.
he can't take a whole lot of information from that, but he'll be happy to pick up such a premium uncommon. All right, and now we see
Is that
Reid.
Incorrigible Youths?
It is Incorrigible
So
Youths.
he has the Wild Mongrel into Arrogant Worm draw
He does.
all set up.
Yeah, and what Reid's doing now is, my assumption is that he will take the Incorrigible Youths out of the pack, and
Same.
he's lining up what might I get back, because there's other solid playables in here.
4 red cards in this pack.
That's right.
This is a signal. This is good, old-fashioned. Read the table. The people on your right are passing you the red cards, so take them.
Yep. So I think what Reid will hope is that he can get maybe one of the 3 drops, you know, the
like the
Vampire
Howlpack
Noble,
Wolf.
the Howlpack. You know, one of those 2 coming back would be really good for Reid, as they're both fine in an aggressive deck.
Inspiring Captain shuffle to the front. Has not given up on white yet. There's another Throttle.
Was that an Aberrant Researcher in there too? No, it's an Uninvited,
Uninvited
Geist.
Geist.
Okay.
Throttle the pick here?
Yeah, I like Throttle for sure. What are the other red cards? A Vessel? That's not going to do it. I can't quite see the one at the back there, but yeah, it looks like Throttle would be the pick here.
It's a couple of bad red cards, still consistent with the signal that no one else on his right wants red.
Yeah, Reid is going to have to manage that information as well, because one pack that's stacked up with red cards doesn't necessarily mean that it's open, but it often does. Oh, wow, another Heir to Falconwrath. Holy smokes.
What is going on?
What is this, 5th pick?
Okay, sure. Sign me up. This draft is autopilot mode now, right?
I've never seen that card go this late in any pack. I've never seen a fifth, like
No,
a
I haven't either.
third pack, 5th pick Heir to Falconwrath. That is absurd.
Jeez.
Heir of Falconwrath, he second picked it. And now he gets one
He's
4 picks
keeping
later.
a pretty stoic face, too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could look that calm.
No,
to get past
I'll
my
tell you
second
what,
heir.
he is very excited about this. There's an insolent
Sure.
neonate that he could take here. What's the werewolf that he's got back there? Convicted Killer. Very mediocre.
Yeah, I think you take Neonate. I mean, he's setting himself up to be a very powerful, have a lot of Madness enablers potentially, which is when the Neonate shines.
Exactly.
Maybe he'll get some vampire synergies, get like a Stensia Masquerade, could totally come all the way around the table if no one else will want it.
Yeah, he'll be keeping his eye out for cards like Blood Mad Vampire, Twins of Maurer Estate.
So he does take the Neonate.
Yeah,
Makes
he took the
sense.
Neonate. There's a Vampire Noble. And hey, there is a Stensia Masquerade that you just noticed a minute ago. And this is a super interesting decision point,
God,
because
that card's so powerful.
yeah, he can take a Ghoul Caller's Accomplice, which is just like a solid 2-mana creature. But the Stensia Masquerade in the right deck is excellent.
Yeah.
In the wrong deck, you don't even put it in.
Agreed.
He took it.
Yep. Black-red is the deck where it shines.
This
Like,
is the deck.
You can play it in sort of red-green.
Yes.
But it's great in black-red. You have to be aggressive, right? You want to be attacking. It doesn't really help on defense.
Looks like a sure shot for Reid here. How madness does he want to go? You could take an Albums of the Vein, but that card has relatively low impact, and you really have to be madnessing. I think a dual shot that maybe even ends up in the sideboard might have a higher upside
I
than
like
just the
dual
Albums
shot.
Vein. Yeah.
I mean, you can main deck it. You want it in your sideboard when you get paired against like a blue-white Spirits deck. That is, you want to be able to sideboard it in.
Right. Looks like a Merciless Resolve. Not a high priority card for this deck, but we're in the later part of the pack here, and Reid isn't necessarily expecting
Was that
to
the
pick up
all-red
great
pack,
stuff.
though, or is that coming now?
I think it's the next one.
That had 4 red cards.
He's hoping to get a Vampire
None
Noble.
of them came back.
Okay.
Sanitarium Skeleton's all he gets.
Yeah, it's better than Shambleback. So
It's not, doesn't really shine in black-red, though.
yeah, I don't think it'll make the cut. I'll
Agreed.
tell you what, Reid hopes it doesn't. Make the cut.
Exactly. Well said. If he's got that going on, something went wrong.
And there's a Vampire Noble.
Nice.
Sweet.
Yeah, easy pick. I mean, 3/2 vanilla for 3, not all that exciting, but when you have Stensia Masquerade in your deck,
Oh yeah.
suddenly you're like, yes, like, the creature type is very relevant. Yeah, not much left here.
Yeah, he'd much prefer Blood Mad Vampires at this point, but he hasn't actually seen one yet.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that the back half of this pack has gone as badly as it has. That one pack with the 4 red cards felt like such a loud read that red was open. And he just didn't really get paid off on that, right? What came after the Incorrigible Youth? Is it just the Neonate, or was there another card?
Just the Neonate.
Just the Neonate.
Still, double Heir to Falconwrath is
Oh, and the
joke.
Stensia Masquerade is the other card.
True.
Yeah. So he's got Incorrigible Use, Stensia Masquerade. And Dual Shot. Yeah, he's fine. I guess that pack's fine.
So Olivia?
That's obviously the card he wants to open.
That's the one. He also gets access to a lot of the really good red removal spells, Fiery Temper being the premier, but he could, Lightning Axe, something like that too.
I haven't gotten to flipping Arrow Falcon Wrath with a Fiery Temper yet.
No, I haven't either. It comes down so early that like they often don't have a thing worth killing. I guess you could just go upstairs.
I have
Take
lived
6 this turn.
Yeah. I have lived the Incorrigible Youth stream once.
Arrow Falcon Wrath into Incorrigible use?
take
That's
7.
just absurd.
It is.
What a joke. All right, this next pack is super important for Reid here as he settled into his colors and his strategy, and he's somewhat at the mercy of the table now. He needs to, open well, hopefully to get a great deck, and if not, just fill out his curve and get the right pieces of the puzzle here. And I don't mean the card, by the way. There's a Vampire Noble, an Accomplice.
Oh, Tenacity if
Pulls
he
a
was in
Tenacity
white.
up to the front, and
And
really
more
nothing.
Militia if he was in white.
Yeah.
Militia Captain. Huh. Oh, Olivia's Bloodsworn is fine.
Sure. It's what he's going to take out of the pack.
Yeah.
It's a good pickup.
Yeah.
No complaints.
2-drop, 2-power flying, Vampire. It's great.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, too, because even though Stensia Masquerade almost never matters for the 2-1 flying aspect, giving it first strike is usually not relevant. The fact that it's a vampire does. It'll pick up counters.
Oh, yeah.
Not many vampires fly in this set either, so Olivia's Bloodsworn's actually probably just very good for Reid here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could... Maybe it's below average as a first pick, but he's going to be very happy to have it in his deck. It might not even be below average.
It might be above.
It's 2-drop, it's Vampire, it's flying. He can turn the haste on. Maybe
Yes, easily. Yeah. No, I think it's actually just probably a very good pickup for him here.
Even as pick 1. Uncaged Fury.
Yeah, that's reasonable in a deck like this, but not great.
Yeah,
Another
hoping
Accomplice.
to do better. Twins.
Was that a Twins or...
I thought that was Twins
I
of
think
Mauer
it was a
Estate.
Twins as well. He went by it kind of quickly. Yeah, it was. So, Twins of Mauer Estate seems to be a great pickup. Oh, he's got a neglected heirloom in the front, Randy.
Huh.
He has the ability with 2 Air of Falcon Wrath to turn that thing over quite easily.
Wow.
And its floor isn't the worst either
All right,
in an aggressive deck.
I'm in.
That's insane. I do think this is a difficult pick between the Twins because he really wants them. But
They are
with
very
this
good.
second Air of Falcon Wrath, yeah, he's going for it. Neglected
exciting.
heirloom. So that thing becomes Ashmouth Blade,
Yeah.
which gives +3/+3 and first strike on the other side. And you can see how you get it to that point. Normally, you'd think something like a werewolf that takes a lot of work to do. Air of Falcon Wrath, no work at all.
And here's more Twins.
Yeah, there's also another Insolent Neonate.
I think you take Twins here.
I like the Twins here for sure, yeah.
Yeah, being able to madness out a 3/5 Vampire, add instant speed.
Yeah, I mean, he could be
Potentially.
attacking for 6 first strike power in the air on turn 3 with that combo. It's just ridiculous.
Pretty good.
Yeah, now it is interesting, though, because it is narrow. This color pair isn't necessarily going to have a lot of transform, double face cards in it. It can, though, because you can pick up a few cards out of the werewolf deck that you kind of confiscate for your own. There's another Ghoul Caller's Accomplice and another Stensia Masquerade.
Wow.
But this second one does get a lot worse, though.
I think you still take it. It's
Do you? I
You
feel
want
like you
one,
just take
like,
the Accomplice.
it's
Yeah.
not even a vampire. It's a
Yeah,
zombie card.
I know.
If it was a
It's
vampire,
actually a human.
sorry.
Yeah.
I think of it as a zombie card. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you take second Masquerade.
It looks like Reid agrees with you. All right, Masquerade number 2. He's all in. There's no doubt about that.
I mean, look, I will admit, drawing 2 of them doesn't really do anything.
Does it give double strike? Or?
No, but you get the counter twice is what you get.
I was kidding. It gives 2 first strikes.
I like it. It should. Flavor Judge says yes.
Flavor Judge says yes.
But drawing 1 of them is so much better than drawing 0 that I think you run 2.
Okay.
I mean, some of it also depends, like how well the rest of his draft goes. Okay,
like
Tormenting
a
Voice and Stromkirk.
Mentor. Yeah, and
Mentor.
I think the Mentor actually is quite good here.
Totally agree. I mean, you'd rather have Voldaren Duelist as your 4-drop, but the Mentor's still fine.
Yeah, and it actually does synergize quite well because he has critical massive vampires already, so he's going to get that +1 class
Right.
sum to counter and
Right.
the 4 power. So normally when you see a 4/2, you think, it just trades for any 2-drop. But with 2 Stensia Masquerade, this is very often going to have first strike, and a 4-powered first striker is much, much better.
Huh. Rush of Adrenaline, Malevolent Whispers, or Reduced to Ashes?
I would take a Reduce to Ashes myself because I do feel like Reid has not picked up many removal spells. He has no dead weights. He has no lightning axes. He has no fiery tempers. And I'm just getting a little nervous that my opponent's going to play just one big dumb thing and I can't get through it. And Reduce does, clear that out of the way. But that's not a premium card here. It's not.
Yeah, 5-mana sorcery. Like, I could imagine the case for Rush of Adrenaline.
Yeah.
Ooh, Sanguinary
Mage. Sure.
2-drop Vampire.
There's also Crow of Dark Tidings, which is
Not
an evasive threat and non-vampire. Yeah. I don't know. I could see you going either way. Probably just take the Vampire.
I think it's an easy Sanguinary Mage.
Looks like Reid's going to take it here. Well, this deck is coming together nicely.
Yeah.
He would love to see a little bit more removal, though. That's the thing that, like, he's got all the Vampire synergies, the double Ostensia Masquerade, but just getting something out of the way has some value for sure. He's looking at a Wicker Witch at the front, which makes sense. Even though you wouldn't think that it would fit in this deck, it doesn't have Delirium, and he doesn't care about Scarecrows or artifacts. It does have 3 power, and with Ostensia Masquerade, that's real.
3/1 first strike for 3 is pretty good.
Legit. Very much curve filler here for Reid, but still.
He's hoping he doesn't wind up playing
there's
it,
a Vampire Noble.
Yeah, Vampire Noble's better.
The strictly better in his deck. Yeah, the main difference being that it works better with both Ostensia Masquerades and the Mentor. Also, that 1 extra toughness can matter. Skeleton Key. I don't think he wants
It can hang out in the side. It can hang out in the sideboard with the Sanitarium Skeleton. They're friends.
Sideboard combo assembled. Fair enough. All right. So now we're getting down the line here on pack 3.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Excuse me, pack 2.
What he really wants in pack 3 is removal. He wants dead
Yeah.
weights. He'd love Fiery Temper. Fiery Temper is kind of the dream common.
That's his best common.
I mean, it's probably the best common in the set anyway, but I mean,
just be that too, yeah.
It's like in his colors and in his synergies. So.
Yeah. The other card that I think he'd like to see are more Bloodmad Vampires. He still hasn't seen those yet. And while the Vampire Nobles, they'll hang out and they'll do the job. The Bloodmads are really quite good in this Ostensia Masquerade deck.
Right, with multiple heirs.
Exactly.
Madness them out.
Interesting to note here, Randy, as well, that we see, some of the more interesting build around me uncommons in green coming around pretty late. Crawling Sensation, that kind of card just flying around the table. I know that some of the players out in the field here like those kind of cards quite a bit. But a lot of what I've been hearing from the pro community is that they do feel like the format's quite quick. And I mean... it can be very quick. Like
I think
scary
Barcelona
quick.
changed that. I think watching Fabrizio Antari win the Grand Prix last weekend with, a rush of adrenaline, uncaged fury, basically just becoming immense and double striking over the top of people. I think that actually just fundamentally changed the way people looked at how fast you could be in this format. Because, I mean, we watched so many just grindy games last weekend at the Grand Prix as people are kind of exploring all the uncommon build-arounds like you're talking about. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do, and now we're really going to find out this weekend, I think, okay, do you want to be aggressive? Do you want to be grindy and value-oriented? Honestly, I think the answer is that you can do both. I think this draft format so far just looks super sweet, like a worthy follow-up to the original Innistrad.
Absolutely. As long as these aggro decks don't get too out of hand.
I don't think they're going to.
We need to have a check and balance there, of course, but...
Right. I mean, I think both sides of that equation are going to check and balance each other. That's what it looks like to me. What are we, 2-3 weeks in?
All right, pack number 3, pick number 1 for Reid Duke. Another Insolent Neonate.
He's not the first pick he wants.
Oh,
is
it
that
just
it?
looks... Yeah, these packs... It's weird. It's hard to say that they haven't been kind to him. His deck looks quite strong here.
Yeah.
His move into the Black-Red Vampires deck has been really great. But, he hasn't had chances at even premium removal spells yet.
Well, look at his first picks. His first picks are a white card that's in his sideboard. And a one drop that's kind of only made playable because he's got multiple synergies going on. And then what did he take in pack 2? He took is that when he took the equipment?
Yeah.
Those are not great first picks. Oh, no, he took the
Olivia's
Flyer. He took
Bloodsworn.
Olivia's Bloodsworn.
Yeah. So
Those are not great first picks.
Well, I'll tell you, he just added another not great first pick to the pile. Insolent Neonate.
Yeah, that's...
the
rest of the draft has gone great.
Yeah, Insolent Neonate's the kind of card that you hope to pick up like 12th.
Yeah,
because
it
his
would have
deck's the
come
only one
back.
that wants it.
If he hadn't taken it there, he probably could have taken it 9th.
Farbog Revenant? Yeah, wow. He is just having a tough time. He's actually taking a glance at the Thraben Gargoyle here.
What about Rush of Adrenaline?
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll probably end up taking not the Thraben Gargoyle, but he's considered it just because he has the equipment, right?
Funny.
He actually only has 2 cards that can transform right now.
Sure.
And, you know, he wants to try to maximize, but I don't think it's worth it. It's just too slow in his deck.
I think Rush is actively very good also.
Yeah, Rush is sweet. Rush also combos well with the Sensia Masquerades to get that vampire in for the 1 hit that gets at the counter and does the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. 1 point of trample. Turns into a +1/+1 counter. Win the fight.
All right, is that a Geist Blast at least?
I think so, yeah.
Finally, something for Reid.
Another reduced to acid.
Okay, now this is huge. A Breakneck Rider. I think he just has to take that here. Yes, Geist Blast is tempting, but Breakneck Rider is another double face card, meaning that he can get it transformed and get his neglected heirloom online. Also, it's just excellent. That card is just scary.
And Geist Blast, when he doesn't have the blue mana, is not great.
It's fine, yeah. He would make the cut, yeah. There we go, Breakneck Rider.
He wouldn't splash that off the 1 black-red duel he has, would he?
Oh, the blue.
The Geist, I don't think so. Blue-red duel, sorry.
That's funny. He probably wouldn't.
No,
not with Insolent
Not in a
Neonates.
vampire deck.
Yeah. Okay, a Tormenting Voice. He's also got a shot at a Gas Staff Arsonist if he'd like.
Oh, Stromquirk Mentor, too.
And another Mentor. Yeah, I think the Mentor in this scenario is probably better than the Arsonist.
Agreed.
Normally, having a reasonable 5-drop, the Arsonist, they are reasonable.
Hard.
Yeah,
totally,
it's a real magic
worth the
card.
cost of worth 5.
Yeah, but when you are this deep on the Vampire's strategy, I think that the Mentor actually does pull its weight much better.
Yeah, I think the Vampires would justify it, and the first strike, being able to have that 4/2 attack as a first striker a lot of the time is also.
Yeah, the only tiebreaker goes back to that neglected heirloom, but still. All right, here's a Halpak Wolf.
A Vampire Noble. Funny. Noble's just better than Halpak Wolf in this deck, right?
Yes. It's funny because you wouldn't think so, but it really is, yeah.
Down a point of toughness, but relevant creature type.
And it really is.
Block.
Reid has really committed to the vampire synergies here with the Mentors and the Stensia Masquerades.
I like it. Yeah, I was lucky enough to open an Olivia in a coverage draft the other day, and so I'm just.
Oh, I remember, buddy.
This deck is
unlucky enough to have to play against you.
When this deck comes together, it's great. Wow, 3rd Stensia Masquerade I don't think you want.
It has to have. I mean, the promise is also, I believe, his 3rd Stromkirk Mentor.
But those scale
if
better.
that's his top end, then great.
Right, there's no duelists, so those just are his 3/4 drops. I think you take Noble. I don't think you play 3 Masquerades.
I agree. The second one has already lost a decent chunk of value here, and the third one probably just gets to bad. Like, if you open your opening hand, and you've got 2 Stensia Masquerades in it, that's not good for you.
No, you have to think about mulliganing.
Exactly.
Because you kind of already have mulligan. All right, Tormenting Voice. He's got some madness.
Yeah, he's also...
Doesn't have much, though. How many madness cards does he actually have? Is it... The Incorrigible Youth is obviously the highlight.
That's his main madness card. He's got, of course, the Stensia Masquerades, right, for madness. He did pass the Twins of Maurer estate that we saw.
But then he got one. I think he does have one Twins.
He got one.
Yeah, okay.
So a few cards. He's not really much of a madness deck. I wonder if maybe he ends up playing one of the Insolent Neonates rather than both.
Right, the question is also, how good is Tormenting Voice? Right, that's why I went down that rabbit hole.
Sure.
Don't want anything else in the pack, but I don't know if it makes the cut. I think he's going to have enough cards that he's going to get to make decisions like,
oh, for sure.
Do I want Tormenting Voice in my deck? Do I want Insolent Neonate in my deck?
This has been a really fun one to watch. There.
Oh, yeah.
This is a Grotesque Mutation for Reid.
Sure.
Fine combat trick.
Sure.
Does the job. Again, that's a questionable include. Like, it just depends on what the rest of his deck looks like, but it's a good card. Merciless Resolve, again, if you'd like it. There's a Clip Wings.
Yeah, kill it, put it in your sideboard so it's not in anybody else's. That's what he's going to do.
His Olivia's Bloodsworn smiles.
So do his heirs of Falconwrath.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, the Reduced Ashes came back around.
It shows you about where it goes. Like, it usually goes about 2 picks earlier, but this is kind of where it should settle.
Yeah, at this point, I think you're happy to be able to get it.
Yeah, that's his second reduced
Right.
to
Do
ashes.
you want 2 5-mana sorcery removal spells?
I think
Maybe.
I think in lieu of no other removal spells, it's a reasonable scenario. Another clip winks hit the bin. I think it's a reasonable scenario
Agreed.
to think that he can build out a board, attack if he can, but if he can't, just say, okay, I'm going to get to 5, hit your creature, bang.
Yep. I think Reid drafted a great deck.
Wow, I think he did a really good job. You know, he immediately made a change and he committed to his archetype, and I think it's really paid off. And the really cool part is, you know, for those of you watching at home and wondering, well, how can I improve at this type of thing? Look at Reid's deck, and, you know, he isn't opening bomb rares.
No.
He first
not
picked
at all.
Insolent Neonate, you know, out of that third pick, or third pack.
Yeah, he might only play one of his 3 first picks.
Right. And this is something that you know, after you've practiced enough and you know the archetypes, he knows what kind of cards to go into this thing. Another thing that we saw from Reid is that there were multiple picks where he picked a card that went into his deck and he committed to that plan, rather than taking what would normally just be considered the better card. So great stuff from Reid Duke, and the deck looks pretty solid from what we can see.
Completely agree.
And that's, you know, that's a really impressive thing that you'll see. Welcome back to the booth here. Randy Buehler, Marshall Sutcliffe, watching draft. What else would we be doing? And, you know, I love to get this type of viewpoint, because when it comes to formats like this one especially, you have to draft a deck. Not a pile of very good cards, but a synergistic, strategic deck that actually uses some of the things that have been given to you. And that's why, you know, cards that you don't like, Nobles and Mentors here in the Vampire deck are... you know, they don't normally go in every deck, but Reid knows the strategy and has made sure to set himself up to really maximize on these vampire synergies. And these are commons, right? We're not talking about Olivia's and, you know, high-powered removal spells or sweepers. We're talking about Reid piecing together a cohesive deck off of a lot of commons
and uncommons that nobody else wanted, right? Those heirs coming to him late. He abandoned his first pick beautifully. I thought he drafted it great, and I thought the deck turned out great.
Reid Duke, A+. All right, let's send it back to the news desk, and we're taking
Reid Duke A+. Wasn't that a song? I don't know. Anyway, welcome back to the news desk. The good news is that we are already queued up and ready and waiting at the video wall is Ian Duke from Inside R&D and Brian David Marshall. Now, they are going to walk you through every pick of every pack as it happened of former World Magic Cup winning captain Martin Müller of Denmark. Martin Müller in the top 25, of course, part of the Team Eureka. You'll hear much more from them through the weekend because BDM got exclusive access to their testing process. So you'll see plenty more of that as we head towards round 1. Right now, players are out there building their decks. They get 25, 30 minutes to do that. So every pick, every pack with Martin Müller. Let's do that.